Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon everyone. Today I want to presentation about exploring university student willingness to communicate and unwillingness to communicate in EFL. Well, without wasting the time, let me begin. This study aims to determine the contributing factor that influence student willingness to communicate or WTC and reluctance to communicate or WTC in English as a foreign language or EFL in higher education in Indonesia. The understanding of willingness to communicate or WTC is one of the individual variables that influence person decision to communicate or not in certain situation or context. And then, WTC or willingness to communicate described as the result of a complex psychological process of student. After knowing about willingness to communicate and unwillingness to communicate as a further factor that cause willingness to communicate or unwillingness to communicate student, based on the finding, the decision to speak during learning is influenced by many factors, which are divided into two main categories, namely internal and external factor. The individual factor. 1. The ideal L2 ideal self. Chan 2016 described the ideal self as knowledge of how one can turn into what one wants to be as well as fear of becoming. 2. Confident. High self-confidence encourage their willingness to speak voluntarily because they see communicate opportunities as a challenge to improve their skill. 3. Anxiety. Anxiety is also seen to be one of the main factors of their willingness to communicate. However, it turns out that anxiety is not only experienced by unwillingness to communicate student. And 4. Perceived communicative competence. Positive perceived communicative competence will most likely feel confident to communicate in English. Their perception of their skill greatly increases. They are reluctant to speak in class. The external factor. 1. Teacher personality. Teacher personality plays an important role in encouraging willingness to communicate. There are several teacher personalities that make students feel welcome by providing a comfortable atmosphere for students to participate. 2. Types of activities and topics. The findings show that regardless of their group willingness to communicate or unwillingness to communicate, small group activity and believed to have the ability to make students feel more comfortable communicating in class, and also students feel more relaxed to express their idea. 3. Classroom atmosphere. The atmosphere in the classroom can also inhibit or maintain a student's willingness to speak during instruction. Conclusion. The study tried to provide a deeper insight into this issue. The findings reveal that there are many factors behind student willingness to communicate and unwillingness to communicate. These factors include L2 ideal self, self-confidence, anxiety, perceived communicative competence, teacher personality, types of class activities and topics, and class atmosphere. Their interaction between these factors lead to the student's decision to speak up or remain silent in class. There are several suggestions made based on the findings in this study. First, due to the complexity of the causes of willingness to communicate and unwillingness to communicate, must consider psychological issues and in creating their English foreign language classes, as these issues have an undeniable influence on the success and ability to learning. Second, teachers must be equipped not only with pedagogical knowledge, but also about psychological issues in language learning and how to incorporate this knowledge into their teaching. Alright, I think it's all from me. Thank you very much. Good afternoon everyone. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.